Ramona Pascual and Tamires Vidal in the bantamweight division. Before we get into the prediction, low level, low level, low level. I mean, that's the only real two words I can use to kind of describe both Tamires Vidal and Ramona Pascual. Very low level for the UFC. Tamires did beat, freaking Ailin Perez in her second to last fight, but it was an illegal knee win, kind of like the Piotr Jan Aljamain Sterling fight, and she did beat Martina Jindrova, which was a solid win. But overall, Ramona's on a 2-fight losing streak inside the UFC, got destroyed by Josiane Nunes, did good early against Jocelyn, and then ended up losing late and beat a lot of bad fighters on the regional scene. This is a weird fight. Very, very weird fight. The UFC definitely wants Tamires Vidal to win. I believe she's going to be the favorite, and not that big of a favorite. That's crazy. 85% going Vidal is absolutely insane, but that will be my prediction, is going to be Tamires Vidal to win this fight by a decision. It's not going to be a finish, ladies and gentlemen. If freaking Josiane Nunes is not finishing you, if Jocelyn Edwards is not going out there and finishing you, I know Janae Harding and Jennifer Lane Norris, these random girls on the regional scene, were able to go out there and get the finish, but it was 5 years ago. Ever since then, she showed her toughness, she showed her grit, and she's not going to get finished by Tamires Vidal. Tamires does have finishing ability, heel hook in her last fight. Before that, she got a unanimous decision, another unanimous decision, but a Kimura submission win before that. I'm leaning more towards a close 29-28 decision. Ramona is going to hit harder on the feet. She's going to be a little bit bigger, coming down from the women's featherweight division. She's taller and a bit lengthier as well, in my opinion, but Tamires is going to use her very bad and sloppy takedowns and wrestling to get the fight to the mat and control Ramona Pascual on the ground, get a little bit of ground and pound, advanced positions, look for a submission. She's not going to get any, but I think Tamires Vidal gets a very gritty back and forth, very close, very low level, 29-28 decision win in the bantamweight division. The betting odds for this fight are pretty insane, in my opinion. I believe it should be like minus 115 in favor of Tamires Vidal, but right now Tamires Vidal is a minus 163, minus 167 favorite on some of these. A little crazy in my opinion, but I do lean Tamires Vidal barely by a 29-28 decision. Jake Hadley and Carlos Candelario in the flyweight division, 0-2 inside of the UFC promotion, including the Dana White's Contender Series. Jake Hadley 0-1 inside of the UFC, 1-1 including the Contender Series, but Carlos got a little bit robbed when he was on the Contender Series. He definitely should have won that fight. He's going to be a little bit taller than Jake, but it's not going to really matter. The way I see Carlos winning is making this a very gritty striking fight, making this a very back and forth scramble fest in the grappling and wrestling, and mainly making the fight just a very gritty type of war in the flyweight division. That's how Carlos Candelario is going to find a way to win this one, is to make it sloppy and gritty and things like that. The way that Jake Hadley is going to go out there and win this fight is literally just to take down Carlos Candelario and control him on the ground, kind of like how Tatsuro Taira was able to do. That's kind of what I see happening here. I don't agree with these Tapology predictions saying 93% going for him to win, half of those going for Hadley to win by finish. I think that's insane. I think the betting odds are insane as well. Having the man, the myth, the legend, the almost undefeated Jake Hadley is almost a 3-1 favorite. I disagree, but I do lean Jake Hadley to win. He's the better wrestler, better grappler, and I do believe controls 2 out of 3 rounds. Carlos will make it gritty in 1, and I got Hadley by a 29-28 decision. Johnny Munoz Jr. and Ludwig Shalinyan in the bantamweight division. Both, not doing too good inside the UFC. Johnny did start off with a loss to Nate Maness, then he beat Jamie Simmons, then he lost to Tony Gravely. Ludwig is 0-1 inside the UFC and not very active as a professional MMA fighter, coming off a loss to Jack Shore, where he was controlled for that entire fight. Striking-wise, I'd say it's pretty even in terms of the boxing and the kickboxing skills. Neither guy is really a super high-level striker or anything like that. but I do give the wrestling and the control time advantage to Johnny Munoz Jr. I believe he's going to take the fight down, hold on top of Ludwig Shalinyan, and land a little bit of ground and pound here and there, a few elbows, maybe go for a few submissions. But if Ludwig's not getting finished by Jack Show right there, and I don't think Johnny Munoz Jr. will do the same. Or I do think Johnny Munoz Jr. will do the same. He's not going to get a rear naked on Ludwig Shalinyan, so I see the fight going all the way to a decision here. Johnny Munoz Jr. controlling on the ground, not striking with Ludwig, just clinching up, getting the takedown, and winning a close decision. Jinyu Frey and Polyana Viana in the strawweight division. Pretty even fight, especially on the betting odds. Right now, Jinyu Frey a slight underdog on this betting odds right here. Started SR as the favorite, but money came in on Polyana Viana. Others have Jinyu Frey as the favorite, so depending on what book you'll have, it'll either be 50-50, Polyana Viana as the favorite, or some have Jinyu Frey as the favorite as well. So it is a very close fight. 69% going Viana on Tapology. A lot of them going by a submission, which I think is a little bit weird. I highly doubt she's going to get a submission win on Jinyu Frey in this fight, but it is a close one. Polyana did get an armbar on Emily Whitmore, got an armbar on Mallory Martin, lost by armbar to Veronica Macedo, and then lost a split decision there to Hannah Cifers, one of the most low-level fighters in the UFC. But it's a weird fight. I mean, Polyana is younger, she's a little bit taller, a little bit lengthier than Jinyu Frey, but you remember, Jinyu Frey was kind of outstriking Vanessa Demopoulos, and arguably should have won that fight. That was a little bit of a robbery, in my opinion, there, and she was doing very good in the striking against Vanessa Demopoulos in that fight, and I believe Jinyu Frey is going to have the better wrestling than Polyana Viana. The striking of Polyana is okay, but I think Jinyu Frey keeps it very, very even in the striking, mixes in those takedowns. And ladies and gentlemen, we got our first underdog of the night in Jinyu Frey at plus 110. I got her winning this one by a decision. Polyana did lose by armbar to Veronica Macedo, but loses decisions on most of these other fights. And when's the last time you've seen Jinyu Frey getting a finish? So I see the fight going all the way. Jinyu Frey by a 29-28 decision. Benito Lopez and Mario Bautista in the bantamweight division. We got a finish in this fight, in my opinion. Benito is taller. He is lengthier than Mario Bautista. He's 10-1. As a professional MMA fighter, beating Vince Morales in his last fight, losing to Manny Bermudez before that, beating Steven Peterson, Albert Morales, Journey Newsom, some solid guys in his MMA career. He's got 3 knockouts, 2 submissions, and 5 decision wins. I do believe Mario Bautista is going to be better everywhere. I'm going to be dead honest with you. The dude is better on the feet. He is better on the ground. He's more explosive than Benito Lopez, and he's going to have the better grappling and jiu-jitsu game, in my opinion. So it's a weird fight, in my opinion, because Benito has not fought in 3 years. So if my prediction is totally wrong, do not blame me, because I don't know what Benito Lopez has been training in the last 3 years and 2 months. But based off of what I have seen of him, he can keep the striking pretty even on the feet. That's not where I think Mario is going to do his best work. I think eventually Mario Bautista is going to get the takedown on Benito Lopez and do what he did with Brian Kelleher, get the back of Benito Lopez and get the rear naked choke submission, or he's going to ground and pound and get a TKO, maybe even an arm triangle choke submission, but something on the ground, rear naked or a ground and pound TKO for Mario Bautista in round 1 or in round number 2. Miranda Maverick and Shayna Young in the flyweight division. Another finish, this time in women's MMA. I mean, yes, Shayna is taller. Yes, Shayna is Shayna Dobson. She beat Shayna Mazzani inside the UFC, and that's about it. She got a unanimous decision loss to Macy Chiasson, got destroyed by Stephanie Egger in that fight. I mean, she got destroyed by Gina Mazzani until she came back and got a come-from-behind victory on that one. She's not good, guys. She's not good at all. Miranda Maverick has already beaten Shayna Young earlier on in her career. I'm remembering a rear naked choke submission in round number 1. After that, she just went on a tear. Got her UFC debut. Did very, very good. Got robbed by Macy Barber in that fight. Lost to Erin Blanchfield, which is a good win from Erin Blanchfield. Then she beat Sabina Mazo by, guess it, rear naked choke submission. So I think this one's pretty simple in my opinion, Miranda Maverick is going to take down Shayna Young in this fight. She is younger, she is lengthier than Shayna Young. She's got the better wrestling, the better grappling, the better ground and pound, the better cardio. She's going to take the fight down and get a ground and pound TKO or a submission in round 1 or in round number 2. Shailan Nurdanbiek and Derek Minner in the featherweight division. Shailan is 28 years old. He is taller, not as lengthy, but he is younger and more experienced than Derek Minner. Inside the UFC, beating Sean Soriano and TJ Brown, only losing a very good fighter, Joshua Kulipao, who recently beat Sung Woo Choi. He's very solid, he's got very good wrestling, very good control time on the ground, and he's got good cardio. The striking here, I can say, is going to be pretty even in my opinion. Power-wise, you probably give the advantage to Shailan, maybe a little bit of a volume advantage for Derek Minner. I don't really expect this to be a striking fight, though. The fight should go to the ground a lot during this matchup, and Derek Minner being a guy that gassed out bad in the Darren Elkins fight, I think that we see a similar sort of thing happen here, where he's going to look good round number 1, his striking's going to look pretty good, he'll land some takedowns on Shailan Nurdanbiek, but round 2, and in round number 2 and round number 3, Shailan's going to really come back, his cardio is going to be going to prevail against Derek Minner, and he's going to control and ground and pound, maybe attempt a few submissions, and win round 2 and round number 3, and win a nice unanimous decision. Maybe a late finish, but I'm leaning more towards a decision. Mark Madsen and Grant Dawson in the lightweight division. I got Grant Dawson winning this fight. I'm going to say it straight up. I know Mark is undefeated, but he's 10 years older than Grant Dawson. I've seen the speed at which Grant Dawson throws his strikes, the countering ability that Grant Dawson has. His takedown defense does need some work, but he lanes takedowns of his own, and Mark doesn't really... He's not very consistent with with which he's going for the takedown. Sometimes he goes all out, takedown, and sometimes he doesn't go for any takedowns at all, and I think that's going to be a fight. And that's kind of going to be what happens in this fight, where Mark isn't really going for too many takedowns, kind of like what he did against Clay Guida, where it's going to be 3 rounds of striking with 2 guys that are very good at wrestling, very good at grappling. Grant coming off a good win on Jared Gordon. He's going to have the jiu-jitsu advantage over Mark Madsen, in my opinion, and I do believe he will be able to outstrike Mark Madsen as well. He's got the way faster hands. It's going to be like an Arnold Allen versus Calvin Kattar, Arnold Allen versus anyone in the featherweight division, where Grant is just so much gosh dang faster than Mark Madsen. He's going to land more volume, land the harder shots, and land faster shots as well. Mark will have his moments. Maybe he'll land a takedown or 2, but he's not going to hold Grant Dawson on the ground. I got Grant Dawson outstriking Mark Madsen and winning a decision. Tagir Ulanbekov and Nate Maness in the flyweight division. Nate is definitely going to be the better striker here, knocking out Tony Gravely in the bantamweight division, submitting Luke Saunders, winning a decision on Johnny Munoz Jr., and getting a lot of finishes on the regional scene. He's 31 years old, same age as Tagir Ulanbekov. He is taller and he is lengthier. His game plan needs to be keep the fight on the feet and outstrike Tagir Ulanbekov, knock out Tagir Ulanbekov or something like that. The winner of this fight is getting a shot inside of the top 15 of the flyweight division, no doubt. No doubt that is 100% going to happen with this fight with Nate Maness and Tagir Ulanbekov. Is the winner is going to get inside that top 15. Tagir Ulanbekov beat Alan Nascimento, which was a very solid win. Bruno Silva, and then got a few wins on the regional scene, only losing a veteran, Tim Elliott. I don't see Nate Maness being able to do all the stuff Tim Elliott was able to do. He will outstrike Tagir Ulanbekov, but I believe Tagir will land enough takedowns in this fight, land enough ground and pound, go for enough submission attempts to win yet another close decision win. He doesn't really get too many finishes in his career, a few submission wins on the regional scene, but in the UFC, it's been a lot of decisions. And Nate Maness, he doesn't get finished. I mean, Umar Nurmagomedov got a dominant decision, but if Umar is not finishing Nate Maness, Tagir's not going to be finishing Nate Maness. So I'm going to go with kind of what everyone's saying in Ulanbekov, controlling the fight on the ground, landing some good ground and pound, looking for the choke, but he's not going to get it. I got Tagir by a unanimous decision. Josh Parisian and Chase Sherman in the heavyweight division. I'm going to keep it straight and to the point. they're both ass. They're both really not that good. 33, 32 years old, same height, similar reach. Chase just going out there knocking out Jared Vanderaa after losing to Andre Arlovsky, losing to Parker Porter, Jay Collier, as well as Alexander Romanov. I mean, the dude was not doing too good, but to go out there and knock out Jared Vanderaa when Waldor Cortez Acosta was unable to do so, that's pretty insane in my opinion. Josh, he wins one, he loses one. He wins one, he loses one. He wins one. Yeah, he's probably going to lose this one in my opinion. Lost by TKO to Dontel Mays due to ground and pound. Got outstruck by Parker Porter in that fight as well. And I know Chase Sherman's takedown defense isn't necessarily the best. I mean, he got submitted by Jay Collier, but got submitted by Alexander Romanov. But the Alexander or Andre Arlovsky Parker Porter fight were mainly just striking battles that he ended up losing on the feet. With Josh Parisian, I think Jay Sherman is going to have the striking advantage. He will lose one of the rounds where Josh will land the takedowns, but I'm going to be honest, I believe Chase Sherman's going to be able to outstrike Josh Parisian on the feet for two of those rounds, and I know I should be saying a finish here, given Josh did get finished by Dontel Mays. He gets finishes in most of his wins, and Chase gets finished in most of his wins, but I think the fight goes all the way. I think Josh will use his wrestling, use his grappling to survive those positions where he's close to getting finished, but Chase will outstrike him, get taken down a few times, and the strikes Chase is able to land on the feet will outweigh the takedowns, in my opinion. 29-28 for Chase Sherman. Neil Magny and Daniel Rodriguez in the co-main events. Neil Magny, I mean, he had a very close win on Max Griffin that arguably could have gone to Max Griffin on that one. Same to be said for D-Rod and the Jingliang Li fight. They're both 35 years old, height advantage and reach. He's going to go to Neil Magny, wrestling and grappling. I don't really think there's going to be any wrestling and grappling in this fight with D-Rod and Neil Magny, so I don't really need to worry about that with my prediction. I think this is going to be 3 rounds of striking where D-Rod is going to land the harder shots, just like the Max Griffin fight. But just like the Max Griffin fight, Neil is going to land more volume on the feet, just like he does every fight. Even with Jeff Neal, Jeff had a significant striking advantage in terms of power and knockout ability. But, I mean, Neil Magny was able to keep at range and pick apart Jeff Neal for 3 straight rounds. That's what I see happening here. It's not going to be a domination. There will be moments, and there will be a round that is won from Daniel Rodriguez to hurting Neil Magny on the feet, but Neil will win 2 out of 3 rounds, landing more volume than Daniel Rodriguez and get rocked in one of those rounds, lose that one, but it's going to be a close one. Some people are going to be like, robbery, Daniel Rodriguez won that fight. Some will be like, for sure, Neil Magny won that fight. There's going to be controversy again here, but I'm going to go Neil Magny by a 29-28 decision. Marino Rodriguez and Amanda Lemos in the strawweight division. I'm going to go, I'll tell you in a bit, but Marino Rodriguez coming off a lot of wins. 4 fights in a row. Amanda Hebas by knockout. Michelle Watterson by unanimous decision. Mackenzie Dern by unanimous decision. And Yan Xiaonan by a split decision, losing to the champ, Carla Esparza, by a split decision. She's going to be a bit taller than Amanda Lemos. She throws more volume than Amanda Lemos. Power is going to be pretty even between Amanda Lemos and Marina Rodriguez. Grappling and wrestling game, I don't really think there's going to be too much of that, but again, it's going to come down to that volume. I said the power is even. I said the grappling and the wrestling is going to kind of cancel out here due to neither girl's probably going to want to wrestle and grapple with the other. But there is going to be an extreme cardio advantage and volume advantage for Marina Rodriguez. Amanda Lemos just doesn't use and doesn't really throw her hands a lot in her fight. Sometimes there's like a full minute that goes by where she only throws a jab. She needs to let her hands go if she wants to beat Marina Rodriguez, and if she does, she might be able to win some of those early rounds on Marina Rodriguez. But round 3, round 4, round 5, those later rounds on Amanda Lemos here, I do believe Marina Rodriguez will be the better striker in those rounds, be able to land more volume, keep the power even between Lemos and Rodriguez. It's going to be a close one. Some people are going to be like, Lemos' power shots deserve the win on the judges' scorecard. Some are going to say Marina landed double the amount of strikes on Amanda Lemos. She should get the win. It'll be a close one, but I got Marina Rodriguez having the better cardio, throwing more volume later on in the fight, using her movement on the feet to stay out of the big strikes of Amanda Lemos and counter Amanda Lemos as she comes in. I'm going to go Marina Rodriguez by 48-47 unanimous decision. UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. Most confident picks to least confident picks. The main event with Amanda Lemos and Marina Rodriguez, two top-tier Brazilian prospects in the women's strawweight division. We got Neil Magny and D-Ron, two top 15 welterweights. We have Tagir Ulanbekov, one of Khabib Nurmagomedov's guys, and we have a lot of other good prospects on the card like Grant Dawson and Mark Madsen. Prelims are pretty okay, but it'll overall be a decent card in my opinion. There were two cancellations in Bryce Mitchell, Movsar Evloev. I would have had, I don't know who I would have had, a Movsar Evloev, Bryce Mitchell. That was a very, very 50-50 fight for me. I switched my predictions so many times on that fight, but Jailton Almeida, Maxime Grisham, god dang, has also been canceled earlier this morning or late last night, and that was going to be one of my more confident picks on this card, but that is canceled. If you're new to the channel, go down and like and subscribe, and if you're new to these type of videos, where we look at our most confidence to least confident picks, all of the bolded people that I'm going to have on the screen right now, Tamiris Vidal, Jake Hadley, Mario Batista, Tagir Ulanbekov, and so on and so forth. Those are the people we predicted to win earlier on in the week in our full card prediction. But now, I'm not going to give you who I think. Actually, I am kind of going to give you that. Those are just going to be the bolded people. But I'm going to give you the percentage chance I think they're going to win, thus giving you my confidence for every single fighter at UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. We never start with the main events, always start with the first fight on the prelim. So let's start with Tamiris Vidal and Ramona Pascual in the bantamweight division. Tamiris Vidal, she's okay, 24 years old versus 34 years old. If you watch the prediction, Tamiris Vidal was not very high on my confident picks not on the confident picks. I wasn't really confident even in my prediction that I made for Tamiris Vidal. She's really not that high here. Gonna be one of my least confident picks of the card at 53%, just because her form on the feet is really, really bad. She leaves her head open a lot in terms of the strike, and Ramona does hit very, very hard, and the only way I can really see Vidal winning is going to be in the grappling and wrestling, and I don't know if she can finish the fight there or even control it for the full 3 rounds, so it's a tough one. Barely lean Tamiris Vidal. Jake Hadley, he's a pretty big favorite on this fight card right now, like 3-1 favorite or something like that. A lot of people are high on Jake Hadley to win this fight at UFC Fight Night. At UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos, as the odds that I saw were at -275 for Jake Hadley. One of them has it -280 for Jake Hadley. Some of them are going back to -240 and things like that, which is what I think should be happening. He should not be as big of a favorite as he is right now. I'm going to have him right at 60% or 59%. He should not at all be as big of a favorite as he is on those betting odds. That is absolutely insane. Johnny Munoz Jr., Lidvik Shalinyan. This one's gonna be right around where Jake Hadley is, just a little bit less, in my opinion, right around 57.5%. Just because Lidvik Shalinyan, I mean, if he's able to keep the fight on the feet, he doesn't really have much power in his hands, but Johnny got clipped with not the harder shot in his last fight with Tony Gravely, and Lidvik, I mean, he could out-volume Johnny on the feet and win a close decision, maybe even rock and knock out Johnny Munoz Jr. You never know with these type of fights, but I can see something sketchy happening in that Lidvik Shalinyan fight, so I'm not going to have him too high on the confidence. So far, as y'all can see, 53%, 59%, and 57.5%. That means, well, we got to move Jake Hadley a little bit above Johnny Munoz Jr., and we got to make our our slight leans category right here. This means anyone from 50% to 59.999%. Those are going to be these slight leans. So far, no confident picks, no super confident picks, and no almost confident picks. Jinyu Frey, you already know, is not at all going to be a confident pick. We're going to move her down on the list below Johnny Munoz Jr., but a little bit above Tamires Vidal at 54%. She's an underdog at UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. It's a 50-50 fight in my opinion. Polyana's got the submission game. Jinyu Frey's got the wrestling, and the striking is going to be very even. So it's a very 50-50 fight. Could go either way, hence why she's not at all a confident pick. Mario Bautista, this man is going to be pretty solid on the list at 66% confidence. I feel very solid about Mario Bautista for this UFC fight card, but he's not going to be a confident pick. He's going to be an almost confident pick right here, which means anyone from 60.1% to 69.999%. Anyone from like 60 to 70% is going to be the almost confident picks, and Mario Bautista is in that category. Miranda Maverick, she's going to be our first confident pick of the card, but not just confident, not just gosh dang confident. She's going to be a super confident pick of the card right here at 85%. Confidence, if I can find that percentage button right there, but 85% for Miranda Maverick makes her our first super confident pick of the card right here. I'm feeling very, very solid about Miranda Maverick on this fight card. She should easily go out there and win that fight. We got Shailan Nurdanbiek in the featherweight division. Not going to be as super confident, but I do have him as an almost confident pick. Not very high on there, but he is going to be a little bit below Mario Bautista. He's going to be right around a 61, maybe 62% confidence for Shailan Nurdanbiek. Grant Dawson and Mark Madsen, we're gonna have to put him in the. I'm gonna have him almost confident as well, but he is gonna be our lowest almost confident pick of the card, right here at 60%. I'm not too high on Grant Dawson, as his cardio, it's a little iffy in my opinion, and the fact that Mark Madsen does have a very, very solid wrestling game, and Grant gets taken down in a lot of his fights. If the striking is even, Mark could very well out-edge Grant Dawson just a little bit on the feet and get a few takedowns as well and win a close decision. So that one's an iffy one, a very, very close one in my opinion. Tagir Ulambekov and Nate Maness. This one's also going to be an almost confident pick. Not going to be too high. I'm gonna probably have him right in between Grant Dawson and Shailan Nurdanbiek at a solid 61%. And we got Josh Parisian and Chase Sherman. You already know. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. You know what I feel about these unranked heavyweight fighters inside the UFC. I'm not very high on these unranked heavyweights, so I changed my mind. Even from having these women right at the bottom of the confidence, I'm going to put Chase Sherman at the bottom, man. There's no way. There's no chance I'm going to be that confident on Chase Sherman, given that the man was on a 4-fight losing streak not that long ago. But yeah, he's going to be very, very low on that list. Neil Magny and Daniel Rodriguez also going to be pretty low on the list, but he's going to be above Jinyu Frey at a 55%. I do believe he's going to out-volume and stay on the outside of Daniel Rodriguez and win a pretty close decision. Marina Rodriguez and Amanda Lemos. This one's an interesting one. She's not going to be a super confident pick. She's not going to be a confident pick. But can she be an almost confident pick? Can she be an almost confident pick? I think she can. I think she can, but not too high on the list. I'm going to have her at 64% on the super confident. I don't know where she went. There they are, 64% for Marina Rodriguez. We have 0 confident picks, which means 70 to 80%. We have 1 super confident from 80 to 90%. From 90 to 100%, those are what I like to call a lock, even though I don't believe in lock. That's going to be the closest you're going to get to that. Don't have any of those on this card. Almost confident picks from 60 to 70%. We got Mario Batista, Marina Rodriguez, Shailan Nurdanbiek, Tagir Ulanbekov, and Grant Dawson. Slight leans, we got Jake Hadley, Johnny Munoz Jr., Neil Magny, the woman, Jinyu Frey, Tamirez Vidal, as well as Chase Sherman. It's a pretty decent card in my opinion. The biggest betting favorite is also my most confident pick. It was pretty obvious that it was going to be Moran the Maverick. It was actually going to be Jonathan Almeida, but that fight got canceled. Mario Batista is going to be at number 2. Dawson's going to be a little bit lower than his betting odds do suggest. Same thing with Marina Rodriguez, and especially Jake Hadley. Jake Hadley on this list is way lower than his betting odds do suggest. So if you want to look at the betting odds and compare them to my percentage on the confident picks, you'll see that some people are a little bit overvalued on the betting odds. Some of them are undervalued on the betting odds as well. So that's a good thing to look at if you are going to be betting on these fights. And if you want to actually get the bets that I'm going to be doing on this fight card, all the bets I will be making for UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. Simple thing to do, go down into the description of literally any one of my videos. I'm on my YouTube channel right now. I'll just click Neil Magny versus Daniel Rodriguez, which I said was not at all going to be a confident pick. Go to the description and the top link right here in the middle of the screen, y'all can see. That is all of my professional MMA bets, UFC, Bellator, and PFL, and literally any organization that does MMA for 10 pennies a day, 10 cents a day for all of my bets for a full month. And the link before that is $125 for free when you deposit $100 using promo code BERTMMA, and you get free money. You got my Instagram link right there. You got the betting odds websites. You got the merch. Whatever you want to do, go check the description down below. Like and subscribe. Put your confident picks down below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. Full card betting breakdown as well. I mean, I'll give you my predictions as well, but you should already know them based off of the regular prediction video. But I'm going to look at every fight on the prelims, every fight on the main card, and give you my best bets and my thoughts on what bets you shouldn't do, what bets you should do, parlay pieces, straight bets, prop bets, whatever the case may be, for every single fight at UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. If you like the sound of that, go down and make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your favorite bets for UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. With that being said, we're going to start from the bottom and make our way to the top. Ramona Pascual, Tamirez Vidal. That kind of rhymes a little bit in the bantamweight division, if you know. My prediction is Tamirez Vidal. Would I bet that? No. Minus 150 is ridiculous. For Tamirez Vidal, even minus 140 is ridiculous. For Tamirez Vidal, I mean, I wouldn't even bet it at minus 110. I'd have to wait for plus money on Tamirez Vidal to bet. So money line wise, I don't want anything to do. Super low level bantamweights in the UFC. No, I condemn anyone that puts money line on Tamirez Vidal or Ramona Pascual. You might win your bet, but that is going to be the most nerve-wracking bet of your entire freaking life right there. And right now, over 2.5 fight goes to a decision at minus 210. Yeah, no, I mean, it's very low-level women's MMA. Vidal's got a lot of finishes. Pascual's got a good amount of finishes on the regional scene as well. Vidal, I don't believe, has been finished in her MMA career, so possibly, maybe, there could be some value on... She did lose to, I'm sorry about that. She did lose to Cara Rosa by arm triangle right there. But do you think Ramona Pascual is getting an arm triangle? I can highly doubt that. Minus 145 is interesting. I'd have to wait till the scorecards no action is better than the money line to warrant putting some money on that one. But yeah, I mean, you're a degenerate if you're putting a big amount of money on Tamirez Vidal versus Ramona Pascual. Only thing I can possibly think of would be that scorecards no action. If Vidal scorecards no action gets to like minus 120, minus 125, I might consider putting a half unit, maybe even like 0.6, 0.7 units on that. But overall, that is not a fight you want to be putting your hard-earned money on. And we got, after this very low-level fight, we got Jake Hadley, Carlos Candelario, 8-1 and 8-2. Prediction is Jake Hadley by a decision. That will be the bet as well. I'm not going to be betting that minus 125, but that's the only bookie that's out right now that is having props for UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. Obviously, tomorrow or the next day, probably get more odds in terms of the prop bets for UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos, because right now there really is not too many. We can look on fight odds right here for Hadley by decision. Some of them are at plus money and 5 dimes in Sportsbet. If you can get plus 130 on Jake Hadley by decision, I think that definitely has value. Minus 125, anything with a subtraction number before that, no. If you're able to get that plus 130 on Jake Hadley by decision, I do believe that is going to have value. Submission, no. Tatsudo wasn't able to finish. I doubt Carlos is going to be able to finish Jake. I doubt Jake is going to be able to finish Carlos. So plus money on a decision if you have that on the bookie. It's the only thing I would really do. After that, we got Johnny Munoz Jr., Ludwig Shalinyan. Ludwig did not get finished by Jack Shore in their fight right there. Before that, had a lot of good wins. Got a second round knockout win on a 0-0 fighter. And a lot of other decision wins. 6 decisions, 3 submissions, and 1 knockout win. So one's an interesting one in my opinion, because Jack Shore wasn't able to go out there and finish him. But I have a feeling Johnny's got a good shot at going out there and getting the finish. Johnny Munoz Jr., I think, can get a finish here. He's a lot stronger. He's definitely a lot better in terms of the submission game, in my opinion, than Ludwig Shalinyan. But Ludwig is a little bit better at range and staying at range with his striking and things like that. It's an interesting one. Plus 125 on Johnny Munoz Jr. by decision is... It is enticing in my opinion, but I want to see something better, a little bit deeper into the plus money, because little bit into plus money is not really going to get me going for a Munoz Jr. by decision. That does interest me. Plus 150 on Johnny Munoz Jr. right there by a decision. That's where I would say maybe I put a half unit on that, but plus 125... that's just not enough for me, in my opinion, to warrant betting on Johnny Munoz Jr. by decision. Money line, not worth it for me. Munoz just got rocked and knocked out in his last fight. Shalinyan's got some decent striking. The only thing I would do, plus 150 on Johnny Munoz Jr. That definitely has some value. Jinyu Frey, Polyana Viana. Only thing here, since it is women's MMA, very unpredictable. Polyana Viana got a finish loss of Veronica Macedo. She got a decision loss to Tabitha Hichi and finished Emily Whitmire and Mallory Martin. Jinyu Frey, 2 decision wins, losing decisions to Loma Lugbumi, but getting finished by Kay Hansen and losing a decision to Vanessa Demopoulos. I'm going to be honest, I don't like much with this fight. I really don't like much with this fight. I mean, inside the distance for both girls, you're not really getting the most there. I mean, Frey inside the distance, I would not wish that on my worst enemy to put money on that one, but plus 275 on Viana inside the distance. It's interesting. It is very, very interesting in my opinion, because the goes to a decision for this fight is very, very not good in my opinion. Minus 225 for the fight to go all the way. I really don't want anything to do with that. Under 2.5 at plus 210 is a little bit warranted in my opinion. That's right where it should be. That's why it started plus 240, went to plus 210, which is why that plus 240 definitely did have value. But if you're getting good odds on Viana scorecards no action, minus 300 no, but there's got to be some bookies with slightly better odds than minus 300. There's got to be. I mean, there should be 1 or 2 better than minus 300 on Viana scorecards no action, and I want to see which one does have that. I want to see which one has the scorecards no action on this one, because right here we're only really seeing minus 300 on Polyana Viana, which isn't really, I don't really like it in my opinion. Jinyu Frey money line is good, as she is a plus 120 favorite on DraftKings, plus 122 on some of these, so it is a good underdog bet on the money line in my opinion for the value. value. But if it gets to like minus 250 on the scorecards no action, for Polyana Viana, that could be possibly just a 2.5 unit play. Little sprinkle on that one because I really highly doubt Jinyu Frey, of all people, is getting a finish. So inside the distance, scorecards no action for Polyana Viana, or that plus 120 dog money on Jinyu Frey. And we have Mario Batista and Benito Lopez. Money line wise, no. I mean, I loved it when he was at minus 235, 225. There was value on that. There was value at maybe parlay and Mario Batista earlier on in the week when he was at minus 225 right here. But y'all have already saw. Minus 295 right now is not parlayable in my opinion. Is not money lineable in my opinion. The only thing I would do here is, because the fight goes to a decision, is very, very 50-50. Some of them are having it plus 100 on the fight to go all the way or not to go all the way. Plus 165. That's it. Mario Batista inside the distance. That's the only thing I would really do for this fight right here, is Mario Batista by a finish, submission, or decision. Not confident it goes KO. Not confident it goes submission. So plus 165, in my opinion, is pretty solid for Mario Batista by finish. Miranda Maverick, Shayna Young, you already know what I'm going to do with this. Money line wise, you kind of lost a little bit of the value there. She started at minus 490, 470. Now she's near minus 700 on the betting odds. Fight goes to a decision, is plus money. So Maverick by finish is also going to be plus money. But again, Maverick inside the distance and fight doesn't go to the decision are the same thing. So obviously, just say fight goes... I got it wrong. Never mind. Sorry about that. I was looking at the wrong way. But yeah, Maverick inside the distance, I would say would be the bet. Maverick inside the distance. That's pretty much it. Plus 120. Plus 140 is where it started at. Value right there. But plus 100 right now, I still think is going to have a lot of value. And if you want to risk it a little bit there, you could maybe do a Maverick round number 1 and maybe a Maverick round number 2. I believe plus 275 on round 1 and even Maverick round 2 at plus 600. Combine the two, I think she gets to finish in one of those 2 rounds. So that could be worth a little sprinkle. And we got Shailan Nurdanbiek, Derek Minner. I have Shailan winning by a decision. Is that what we're going to bet? No. Is that what we're going to bet? No, not at all. Plus 150 right there for a fight goes to a decision. I think that's a little iffy in my opinion. Should be a little bit closer, so I think that plus 150 does have value. But I still want to do this plus 325. That number is just absolutely insane in my opinion. Plus 325 when, not that many fights ago, Derek Minner was getting knocked out and TKO by Darren Elkins. Got outstruck by Ryan Hall right there. I do like that. Plus 325 on Nurdanbiek by TKO. Value, in my opinion, 100%. Mark Madsen, Grant Dawson. The over-unders, I'm not liking it. There's really nothing there for me. Fight goes to a decision, minus 180. I don't want to risk it, man. It seems it's guys that are right outside the top 15. They could go in there looking for an exciting finish to get them in the top 15 and starch their opponent. Possibly. They can easily starch their opponent early on in this fight. Or it could be a close 29-28 decision. I don't know. So I don't want to risk it on anything like that. But what I do want to do for this fight is not going to be scorecards no action, which was something I was looking at because I was like, Dawson's more likely to get the finish, but minus 275, no. I'm not doing anything with that. But Dawson by decision right there is interesting as well. Dawson by TKO is at plus 900 right there. Dawson by TKO is at plus 900 right there. That's it. I'm not betting Dawson by submission plus 380. I'm not betting Dawson inside the distance at plus 200. I think Dawson wins the decision. That's my prediction. I think Dawson wins the decision, which is at plus 150. Do I want to do that? No. I'm not putting a Dawson by decision plus 150. There's really not that much value. I'd rather go for this crazy plus 900 valuation right there. Put like a quarter of a unit on that one and let it ride out. I don't think he's going to get the knockout. But if there's anything on this fight that has value, it's that KO TKO prop. Out of everything on there, that's what has value. Tagir Ulanbekov, Nate Maness, you already know. It's the decision on Tagir Ulanbekov. I'm pretty sure it's plus money at plus 100 right there. That's pretty much it. Double your money on that. Tagir Ulambeka by decision. Chase Sherman, I was hoping to get plus money on Chase. I was hoping the money would come in on Josh Parisian, but sadly it didn't. I have a weird feeling the fight goes to a decision, so that's what we're gonna do. Chase Sherman by decision plus 380. Neil Magny and D-Rod, this one fight goes to a decision's at minus 190. I'm gonna be dead honest with you. Let's just parlay that with the other big favorites on the card. Why the heck not? Let's just do that. Minus 190 for the fight goes to a decision with, I don't know, if you want to do it, Miranda Maverick to get it to minus 133. And if you want to boost it up a little bit and get fighters from other UFC fight nights in the future, maybe you go on way down the line and add freaking Islam Makhachev or Robert Whittaker. But even that two fight goes to a decision with Miranda. Feel pretty good about those ones. Put them in a parlay. I think that minus 190 does have value to go to a decision. Because, I mean, what would you rather do? A minus 190 on a fight goes to a decision, or barely get any value on a plus 120 Magny by decision? You're getting nothing there. You're getting really nothing there. It could be a very close back and forth decision. I'd rather not risk it on something as nerve-biting, nerve-rattling as a close decision as it's probably going to be, and just fight goes to a decision. For this one, Marina by TKO, plus 470. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Plus 350 on that one is going to have some value. Those are the betting breakdowns for UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications to get notified for when I post a new one. Post or comment your best bets down below in the comment section. Your favorite parlay for UFC Fight Night Rodriguez versus Lemos. You got any new video ideas? Comment them down below. Put your predictions down below. Like and subscribe. Check the description for all of my bets, as well as how you can get your hands on $125 absolutely for free. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.